Yeah, I think what you're saying is important, that whenever we go through a process like this, there is tremendous pain. And I think that the balance that we need to struggle with and ask the question is, for those children that we haven't succeeded with, for all the children that you have, the children that we haven't succeeded with, when they don't get the opportunity to finish high school and thus don't have life chances, there's also tremendous pain there. And I've heard a lot of comments this evening already that because students are high need, they can't learn as well.
Nobody said that.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Stop putting words in people's mouths. Oh, ugly.
The correlation between saying that this school has too many high need kids and therefore not enough for graduating, or saying that
it takes a little more time.
At a high enough attendance rate and therefore are not graduating.
We're asking you to help them.
The truth is that we know it's possible for schools to organize differently and get very different outcomes for kids, and that the pain that comes for the adults as they make changes in their lives is nowhere connected to the pain that is experienced by kids. I mean, let me give you, someone earlier had asked for some examples. There are 3 examples that I would share from 3 different campuses that are phased out and are doing work with almost exactly the same population that Washington Urban currently has. So Urban Assembly School for Media Studies, which has over 20% special ed students, has a 76% graduation rate. The High School for Hospitality Management at Park West, which was a school that was graduating kids in the low 40s, now has a 79% graduation rate with 18.5% special ed. Lower Manhattan Arts Academy at Seward, which for decades had a graduation rate in the 30s and 40s, now with 21% special ed, has 72% graduation rate. So it's just not true that with high need kids you cannot succeed. And I think that the challenge here is to think about how to invest the talent that exists in this building in building new schools that are going to get a different set of results. Because it's not, someone asked, if it's not the teachers, then what is it? And I think what happens in a school...
See, now he's finally getting down to it. It's not the teachers. He's blaming the teachers.
Amongst both teachers, students, and administrators, where the expectation is that kids aren't able to succeed. And I don't...
Nobody's saying that.
That is an assumption!
That is not what we said.
All right. I just want to make a few remarks and just remind everybody that Manhattan's high-need schools have 6% self-contained special education. That Bloomberg's new Manhattan schools, 32 schools, of those 32 schools, there are 1% special education.
That's the truth. There's the truth.
12.5. So the statement that all of these schools are doing basically all the same thing and then it's a wash is just not true.
Liar!
Teachers dedicate themselves, students stake their dreams, parents give the best of their hopes, and the DOE decimates and destroys. When people follow the rules, they do everything that they are trained to do. They open their minds, they work themselves to the bone. They expect to be successful. Students, teachers, and parents have learned that it is not true here at Washington Irving High School. Students, teachers, and parents have learned that this man has winning schools and losing schools. His winning schools and losing schools. And it doesn't matter if you play by the rules, because just like Animal Farm, the rules keep changing. Rules that keep segregating our populations of the poor, the students with high needs, and our minorities. Rules that are increasingly stacking the deck of the schools that are slated for closing with high truancy, and students who have a lifelong history of not showing up to school. In some cases, students who are not even in this country, but we are to blame. Rules that increasingly allow for those with the highest risks, those who need the most help, those who have the largest hurdles to be placed in one school so that other schools have better data. Your rules, Mr. Mayor, mean failure by design. Your playbook, Mr. Mayor, means that some of our students will be warehoused in schools slated for closing.
That's right.
Your ethics mean that even high-need schools who have received federal aid will be closed, and your new boutique schools will receive the money instead. You have no problem serving the influential who know how to use your Byzantine admissions lottery and turning your back on the rest. Your rules, Mr. Mayor, mean that the school will be separate and unequal. What students, parents, and teachers have learned is that you don't play fair, that your laws don't serve the public, they serve you. Your rules lead to segregation, to less minorities in your new schools and almost no self-contained students. Your new schools have smaller class sizes, better technology, and more space. They also discriminate. What are the rules to your shell game? The fews. The few students who don't lead perfect lives into the overcrowded and less endowed schools that you intend to close. Hope that you can get to the end of your administration before anyone else notices. Fire the experts and then rehire them as consultants so that you don't have to be responsible. Buy cheap software programs that don't work and shift teacher attention away from the students and towards synthesizing success through mindless data inputs. 8 years ago, you apologized, the mayor apologized for what they did to Washington Irving through their own shell game. Many of the audience remembers what they did to this school. They overcrowded them from closing schools, and then they cut down on our discipline, and all of a sudden, presto magic, we have major violence, and you know what else happened. Where is your decency now, Mr. Mayor? You're closing us down for something that you started. Swept under the carpet like everything else. Your rules are about influence, about favoritism, about deception, and now about substantiating your policies of closing large high schools down. And the more expensive, experienced teachers who have given the best years of their lives in a system that does not honor them. Why don't you just say it, Mr. Mayor? You're closing down schools for your schools, but at what expense? Your rules took a school that has survived for 100 years and destroyed it in 10. In your report, you have cut our funding for the past 3 years, and then when we got a federal grant, took it away after 3 months.
Whoa!
In your justice system, Mr. Mayor, you have destroyed more schools than you have improved. You are making a terrible mistake. You are blaming hardworking families and teachers for what you have failed to address in our communities. The prison pipeline, poverty, homelessness, and crime.
That's right.
Sure that you would like to blame it all on Washington Irving. But we know better. The emperor has no clothes. You have